Thursday, February 12th edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Tons to talk about. Let's get right into the video. I want to start off with a look. Well, that's really tough to see anything, but that's a look toward the Beach Mountain Ski Resort area, and snow has already begun to fly up there in the mountains again, and it is going to be a snowy, cold, and windy day up that way, and Arctic air set to plunge through the Carolinas later today. These are 5 a.m. temperatures, 5 a.m. hour temperatures at least, about 5:30. And it's not too bad out there, but trust me, the Arctic air is coming. We have a lot to talk about in the video, a lot of cold air, a couple of big shots of Arctic air, and the potential for some wintry weather next week, too. All right, so there's your Arctic frontal boundary working through the region. Those northwest winds will really begin to crank as we get into this afternoon, and that is going to bring in this Arctic air. These are current temperatures again. And look upstream here. It's 12 below for an actual air temperature in Fargo and International Falls, 9 in Lincoln, Nebraska, 5 in Des Moines, Iowa. And let me flip over here to Futurecast and watch the progress of this cold air really rapidly dumping southeastward. That's wave 1 of the cold air taking hold tonight into tomorrow. And then watch as we get into Saturday, there comes the next blast of cold air that moves in here Saturday night and sticks around into early next week. So here's what it looks like on your surface map today. Very gusty northwesterly winds. We could see winds gusting in the foothills and the Piedmont in excess of 30 to 40 miles per hour here and there. Higher winds in the mountains. So your highs today, especially over the areas north and west of Interstate 95, will occur very early in the afternoon with falling afternoon temperatures. And then we're looking at a scenario tomorrow where that cold high pressure stays centered to our west, but it's going to be a very chilly day. Here's your Friday numbers out there. Going to be a very chilly Friday. Now, Saturday will be just ahead of this next push of colder air. So Saturday milder. Our high Saturday afternoon probably upper 40s to lower 50s, but then that next big blast, that even colder blast of Arctic air begins to blow in here Saturday night. And check out our wind chill values by the time we get to around daybreak Sunday. There you go. This is off the GFS model, and I think it's doing a pretty good job here. We could very well see some wind chill values down below zero across many Piedmont zones and foothill zones by daybreak Sunday. Obviously, much colder in the mountains. I'll show you that in more detail coming up in just a moment. And then here's your highs on Sunday. Very, very chilly across the region. And again, more on the detailed modeling in just a second. But here's the European representation then of our next system rolling in here by Tuesday. And here's the footprint of wintry precip on the European. More on all that here in just a second. Let's talk temperatures first with this first blast of cold air. These are temperatures, low temperatures early tomorrow morning. Pretty cold across the region. There's your wind chill values around daybreak on Friday, and you're looking at some wind chills in the Piedmont. I think a lot of us down between 2 and 10 degrees for wind chill as we start the day tomorrow. And then your highs tomorrow, quite chilly, a lot of 30s across the foothill and the Piedmont zones. All right, then we get into Saturday. This is the map for around sunset Saturday evening or soon thereafter. You can see the snow from the mountains and points north and west as this next charge of Arctic air arrives. And then here are the minimum temperatures, the low temperatures Sunday morning. And I know these numbers are tough to see, but you're looking at a lot of 10 to 15 degree low temperatures across the Piedmont on the GFS model here. Colder in the mountains. And then there are those wind chill values off the GFS model. And the European is very similar, by the way. Those are 20 to 30 below zero wind chills in the mountains out in the Piedmont. Wind chills, I-40 at least, in points north, down below zero. And then your high temperatures on Sunday only in the 20s across most spots. And check this out. These are dew point temperatures Sunday afternoon. These are dew points ranging from 5 to 15 degrees below zero. Those are incredibly low dew points, a very cold and dry, very, very dry air mass in place, and that will play a big role in our incoming storm system for Tuesday. Monday morning is going to be another cold morning. Again, lows Monday morning probably down in the 8 to 13 degree range in many Piedmont spots. All right, now we get into the next storm system. This is the 0Z run of the GFS, and I have the 6Z run in-house too, and I'll show you that in just a second. This is Monday evening, and then again, at that point in time, still have some these are dew points, very dry air still in place even at that point in time. across many locations in the Carolinas. So as this precipitation advances into that dry air, you get a wedge formed by the evaporational process. Really no high pressure to lock the wedge in, so in time it gets scoured out. But certainly the air cold enough that as this precipitation first moves in Monday night into Tuesday morning, it sure looks like a period of wintry precip is likely anywhere from maybe the upstate of South Carolina into a good chunk of North Carolina. And again, you notice this is a 0-0 on the GFS. By Tuesday afternoon, the sub-freezing air has retreated up into the mountains and foothills. Okay, we keep going. This is the GFS. Again, I'll show you the other models in just a second. We go out to Tuesday evening. Everybody's kicked over to rain on that particular run of the GFS. Raining Tuesday night into very early Wednesday morning, and then the system exits. Okay, let's go to the Canadian solution. This is what it looks like Tuesday afternoon as the precipitation arrives. This blue line, that is the freezing line up at around 5,000 feet. A lot of times that is a rough estimation of the rain snow line that continues to retreat north. But I didn't stick the charts on here, I don't believe. But surface temperatures hang below freezing for a while, so you end up with a footprint of wintry precip, something like that. The Canadian model. All right, the UK Met model, this is the precipitation output for Monday morning. And a lot of then this is again, this is your freezing line up at let's see, that's going to be at your surface freezing line. Yeah, these are surface temperatures, so you're below freezing at the surface in many locations in North and South Carolina. So there's your footprint of snow. A lot of that is snow on the UK Met model, at least at the onset of precipitation. Some spots warm aloft and it kicks over to some ice in some spots. But again, this is just to give you an idea of what some of the modeling is showing. All right, let's go to the European model. Okay, and this is valid overnight Monday night. Precipitation then moves in. This is then around daybreak Tuesday. At that point in time, most spots in North Carolina still cold enough aloft for snow. But then as we get out to early afternoon Tuesday, you notice the precipitation continuing to settle in. Your 850 temperatures have warmed above freezing in most of North Carolina, outside of northwestern North Carolina, but surface temperatures still hanging below freezing in a good chunk of North Carolina. So that is a snow to freezing rain scenario on the European model. You go out to 144. This is Tuesday evening. The precipitation really getting heavy, and still many locations in northern and parts of western North Carolina still sub-freezing at the surface, so that's more freezing rain. But then this system really tightens up. Watch this. This is overnight Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. This system really amplifies, and so you see the surface temperatures continue to warm during that time period. And this low in the European really bottoms out over eastern North Carolina. And I just wanted to show you this. This is what the surface temperature gradient looked like Wednesday evening. Close to 70 in the Outer Banks, but teens in the mountains as that low pressure tightens up. That's probably over amplified, but just kind of interesting to note. That's what it looks like. And I wanted to show you this. I know this is very tough to see. These are the low pressure positions valid Tuesday night off of the various ensemble members of the European. And you have solutions with lows anywhere from Georgia to the Great Lakes. So there's still a big spread in there. And there could continue to be some track adjustments. Finally, here's the just in-house 6Z run of the GFS. And it's a little colder. This is daybreak Tuesday. And then you go out to early afternoon, and it's really looking pretty similar now to the European representation, with that sub-freezing air hanging on and through the morning hours before everybody kicks over to chilly rain thereafter. So that's the way it's looking right now. It'll be subject to how cold and dry this area is right when the precipitation begins and how long it can hang on. But I think it's looking fairly likely that a good chunk of North Carolina and parts of South Carolina could, at least for a brief period of time, deal with some wintry precip by Tuesday morning. And then we'll see how long the sub-freezing air can hold on thereafter. With no high to anchor it in, the warm air, warm relatively speaking, the warm air should win out in time, but that's going to be a matter of specifics that we have to continue to iron out as we get closer to early next week. All right, that is it for today's edition of the video. Everybody have a wonderful day, and God bless.